Okay, so in the last video, I looked at how to create our first endpoint with Express, and we just send back this object when a request is made. So let's say we didn't just want to send back this object. Perhaps our API is a paid API, and the person requires something like an API key to be able to use this. So we actually need something that sits before this endpoint and just looks at what's coming in and make sure it's correct before sending back this data. So that's called a middleware, and the middleware is something that runs before any of the code in here starts to run. So it's what makes sure that the request coming in is correct and stuff like that. Now I've opened up something in the browser here. This is an API middleware called Clerk, and this is used for creating API keys and passwords and all of that stuff. We're not going to use it in this, but I just wanted to show you that third-party middleware exists, such as this, and you can use it in your app. But for now, let's look at how we can create our own middleware. So I've got Microsoft Paint opened here just to show you what middleware actually does. So we have our path here like slash, and this goes to our function, which is this function right here. And this function does some stuff here and then returns some data. So basically all our function here does is it returns this JSON object with some data inside of it back to the browser or whatever made that request. But what we actually want to do is right here before we get this request, we wanted to actually check something here, and if those checks are complete, then it can go through and run that function and return the data. But if that's not complete, we just wanted to send back an error. So I'm going to show you how to do this manually by creating our own middleware. I know my drawing here is really good, but yeah, we're going to create our own middleware up here. So at the top after the import statement, I'm going to do const my middleware, and I'm going to set it equal to a similar arrow function as what we have here. So this is an arrow function. We need our brackets, our equals to and greater than sign, and then our curly brackets. And this will take three parameters here. One is rec, the next is res, which is response, and then is next. So you know what these two are already. We've explained them when we did express here. Rec is just the request that's coming in, and res is the response that we're sending back. And then we have this next function here. So in here at the bottom, we need to call next, which is a function, and that's basically what we took in as a parameter here. And this just says when this middleware is finished running, call this next function, which begins running this code here. But the one thing I want you to remember is the send command here actually kills the connection when it's done running. So if we put something up here like res.send error, and I need to put that in quotes, so error. When it hits this line, it will send back the error, but it will also kill the connection because we used send here, and it won't hit this next here and move on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it like this for now, and to use this middleware that we just created, we can either pass it in as a second parameter here. So the first parameter is the path, and then the second parameter we can use my middleware. And then we need a comma again. So now we're giving it three parameters here. The first is the path, the second is the middleware, and then the third is the function it runs. And I'm going to save this and start it up here in the terminal. So I'm going to do npm start, and okay, now it's running. So if I go to that page, which is localhost 3000, we can see that we get error here. So that means our middleware is working successfully. Now instead of doing send here, I'm going to do console.log, and I'm going to say middleware, just so that it prints out in the console middleware every time we run this, and it doesn't kill the connection right there. So now I'm going to head back to the browser and refresh, and we get the object that it returns right here. So now it's console.logging middleware, which we can see it right here. And then it's returning this object here. So our middleware is working correctly. From the top down, I'm going to explain it one more time. This middleware object has three parameters: request, response, and the next function. And inside of it, we're just doing a console.log, and then we're running the next function. And the next function moves on and starts running the code inside of the request that we got. So for this request, we requested the /path, which is the root path, and it just created this object and returned it back. I hope everyone understands that. Now I'm going to show you one more place where you can run the middleware. Because remember, if we had 10 paths down here and we wanted to run this middleware on every single path, it's going to get tiresome to keep writing my middleware every time we're passing in the parameters. So up here where we're calling app, where we're creating it, we can say app.use, and we can pass in the name of our middleware right here, my middleware. And this will actually work the exact same way, except the difference in using it this way is now if we create a different path down here, all paths will use this my middleware middleware. So okay, I'm going to refresh this again, and we can see it gives back the same data, and in our terminal here we get middleware again. So the middleware is running successfully. And yeah, that's all I have to show you in this video. I hope everyone understands middleware and why it's so useful. Remember, we can also have custom middleware that we download from the internet by just importing it into a project, like this Clerk middleware, which handles if we need passwords or API keys. There's also the cause middleware here. That's a bit of an important one, because if we try and use this server with a front-end application that we create, it will actually give us a cause error unless we use the cause middleware from here. But I'll touch on that more when we're a bit further into the course and we actually need to use the cause middleware. So for now, that's all I'm going to show you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.